Is the market beginning to turn bullish? Is Terra Luna Classic really going to stay in the 14s? Well, we're going to talk about it in this video because I don't think so. And we have got some interesting news around that price capitulation, exactly what happened and why people are buying more. Now, remember, nothing financial advice, make your own decisions. However, definitely something we need to talk about. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. All of that good stuff, stay up to date with the world of cryptocurrency, and let's get into it. So we start to see the market looking like it wants to turn green. We can see in the last hour we are up 0.5% on Bitcoin, 22,300, and the 24-hour is starting to move as well. 1.02 trillion is still the total market capitalization, but if we run down the list, and it is quite a way down the list, to the 55th highest ranked cryptocurrency, we see Terra Luna Classic here at the 1453. Now, it's had a bit of a checkered ride over the last kind of 7 days, and we've seen a huge sell-off, a massive whale dumping a huge amount of Terra Luna Classic on the back of that Binance burn. Now, 62 million in volume, $856 million in market cap. We did lose, obviously, that $1 billion as we are down, like I said, 14.51 and 4% down on the day. Now, if you take a look at the 7-day, we saw this massive sell-off, and a number of reasons why that happened. We saw it in the entire crypto market with all of the news from Silvergate, what's happening with their digital assets. Equally, are they going to go insolvent? We saw that Coinbase refused to do business with them. We've seen they've then been ordered by law to pay back nearly $10 million to BlockFi as well. So we did then see people running for the hills, people getting out of crypto. Remember the last time we saw something like FTX collapse, the market completely dumped. And I think this was absolutely people making decisions and running for the hills. So what are we hearing? What are we seeing? Well, this Luna Classic price wipes 9 weeks of liquidity during the recent 25% downswing, and it tells you exactly how big it was. It says Luna Classic price displays a capitulation event, and the bears have induced a 20% liquidity hunt during the first week of March. At the time of writing, LUNC price shows a rebound surge on smaller timeframes as a short-term bulls have recovered 17% of the losses. And we can see that probably here on the more technical, we see it all the way down to the 12 nines. Absolutely crazy that it went down that low. It says the large downswing was catalyzed by a rejection of the 8-day exponential moving average and 21-day simple moving average. The move south is likely to induce significant volatility as the breach wiped out 9 weeks of established liquidity, breaching the December 23 low of 12,848. So we had and did go as low as back in December. The RSI does show a decline in testing the last support level near 40. As long as support is maintained, the bulls could reroute north to retest the upper levels of the 9-week trading range into that higher 19,500. So again, what ultimately is going on? Well, we saw a massive sell-off. That's the reality of this, a huge sell-off on the back. We can see it on Bitcoin, we see it on Ethereum. It is obviously always kind of exemplified with Terra Luna Classic because of the nature of it. Now we can see here money flow is still pretty positive coming in. RSI, like we said, trending down a little bit. MACD looking okay in fairness. But when we talk about what is happening within the ecosystem of Terra Luna Classic, now, I've been covering this pretty much every day since the disaster that's happened. And ultimately, it's always worthwhile understanding what people are doing. Now, what we can say is our staking ratio continues to move up. So we did see a bit of a sell-off as people position themselves to take some profits on the back of that massive spike up from the Binance burns. And what we can say is that people are still bullish and still excited about the Binance burns. But another nearly 600 million is staked. 953 billion is where we currently sit, just under the 14% ratio. So we still continue to remove supply and people still continue to stake their tokens. Now you can see we are seeing some big delegation losses as well as some interesting moves around between validators. So obviously you can see here, look, we have someone coming out of the millennial market and probably going into Terra CVT. You see the address is exactly the same. Likewise, we see someone coming out of coming out of Classy and going into Orion. So people starting to move around, and there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, it's important that you are putting your Luna Classic with the people that ultimately are going to uphold your vote and what you want to see with the ecosystem. So definitely interesting to see a massive sell. Now, where does it leave us? How does it kind of sit right now? What ultimately do we get going in the long run? Well, I still sit here and I still hold my Luna Classic. All of mine is still staked, as you would expect, and I have no interest in selling it off. Now, we'll see what happens in the long term. We are going to be coming up to the point in which the Layer 1 task force team will be looking for a further 3 months worth of funding. Now, we'll see how that all pans out. Hopefully, they will bring something to the plate that that is worthwhile. We have seen obviously a lot, but ultimately it's not driving volume and it isn't driving a price fluctuation. Now, I did talk about this in a previous couple of videos where actually price fluctuation at this moment in time is not the be all and end all. Remember, at the minute when we've got a lower price point, we will burn more Luna Classic. We know Binance again are going to support with those burns, so it is a matter of time as to how that all plays out. And again, obviously, as we build, we do know that when we take a look at that interstation wallet, we're starting to see more and more chains come as part of this bigger system, and equally then being able to operate in between chains, whether it be Classic, Crescent, Axler, always good to see. And again, always starting to build out, but we need more. We need the layer one to really start to push the team, really start to build something out that starts to bring applications, dApps, DEX, whatever it is, to the network. So we start to see volume. Wherever we are in a world of 63 million dollars in volume, it is always going to be a challenge, particularly when we see the bigger days where we get the Binance burn. As an example, 172 million, 165 million the day before. We obviously had that issue with market cap. That now is corrected, and we are again back at ranked 55. So all in all, within the ecosystem of Terra Luna Classic, it all still feels pretty normal and pretty safe. At the same time though, a massive capitulation event saw huge profits, huge liquidations for Terra Luna Classic as well as the wider crypto market. So time will tell. It's going to be an interesting week coming up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think we're now back to the 14s, or do you think we'll see some positive price movement over the course of this week? And as ever, thank you so much for watching this video. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you aren't already subscribed to the channel. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.